Hey, what's going on, everyone? What is going on today? We have a special guest, Luis Mendez, and we're calling this What's New. We're going to be talking with Luis about what's new in real estate from his perspective and where he is. So, Luis, how are you?
Doing pretty well, thank you. Thank you for asking. I'm happy the weather is warm again and things are going great.
Yeah, it's February and we're having like high 80s, which is pretty crazy,
Yep.
but we'll take it, right? It's better than
Amen.
20 degrees.
Better than the last few frosts that we've had, so I'm enjoying the heat.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what have you been up to in real estate lately? I'm seeing like your, listings and working with buyers. We talk every day, but for the people who don't talk to you every day, what's going on with you lately?
So I have quite a few listings. Pretty awesome. Like they're all pending. Besides one, I have a brand new listing that we just put in the market. It's a nice home on the lake. And I'll get to that shortly. But we just been working with buyers, getting them qualified, showing them houses, and uh, and and working with sellers and getting them top dollar for their money, especially with some properties that seems pretty tough to sell, and the sellers are getting more than what they expected. So that's been a pretty awesome thing.
Yep, we talk all the time, and I know your email's getting lit up with offers and everything. Offers over list price, and some of those investor lowball offers too at the same time.
Yeah.
Yep. You mentioned you have a lakefront listing, which I know
Yes.
about, but tell the viewers about it.
So I would say this is more of like it when you go into the house, when you see it, it has that European feel look, but you have that in Florida. It's a nice small 2 bed, 2 bath cottage house, block house, by the way. So it's a block house, metal roof, solar panels. I mean, it's a sturdy, great house, and it's located on a lake. So it's a really beautiful thing. And I think what makes the property stick out more is I've seen them all. They always post like photos of like the sunsets. I mean, just the whole backyard where the living room sits and everything is such a beautiful view. And so that's going to be a really nice one to sell. And you know, it's when you're in real estate, when you see a house that's so beautiful, it's like you're really gonna leave this place. It's like
Yeah.
this is so beautiful.
Yep.
I'm like, all right, well, in a
I'll help
sense,
you.
it's like I'm trying to like, there's like one part of me is like, don't leave. I wouldn't sell this. I mean, I would stay here. Then the other part is like, well, there's business too. And I'm like, I'll help you sell this. And I'm like, whoever's buying this is like really buying a beautiful house. So, I really fall in love with the homes that I sell, and I really make it, I partake in that whole process with the sellers. Like when they're selling a home, I understand them.
Right.
But yeah, it's a nice home. It's a really nice home, and I'd love to share it. Especially if someone wants to live out in the country, and that's kind of like what I'm into. I used to be a city guy until I had like this is probably 2018, 2017, 2018. I had a buyer seller, buyer seller, because he was living in the city, wanting to move out to the country, and I was like, why would you do that? Like, you have a nice home, pool. I mean, he had a decent sized yard. I'm like, why would you move here to all the way out in Lakeland? And this is like north of Lakeland. Like when you go out there, your cell phone service doesn't even work. But we're driving around different farms and different places, and my mindset at first was like, I would never do this. And after seeing a lot of it, it felt like the stress of the traffic and the busy life. Just every time I drove out there to show homes, it felt calm, and I'm like, I want to live in the country.
It started
And
growing on you.
yeah, and then I ended up, literally, I would say about like less than a year later, I ended up buying a house out in the country, or what would be considered a country from where I came from. And I was like, I definitely, I love it, and it's kind of like spread to everyone because I talk about it a lot. So now I've been getting more buyers and sellers to like, you know what, I don't think I want to live in this, congested traffic area. I'd rather move out to a place where it's nice and quiet and I could breathe.
What's cool about Orlando, Orlando right now is getting flooded with people from all over the country moving into Central Florida. But what's cool about Orlando is you have country settings within an hour.
Yeah.
You have the suburbs, which is most of Central Florida. If you want a city life, you could live in downtown Orlando. But if you want a country life, you can still be close enough to Orlando where if you had to get to the airport or if you want to go to Disney World or something like that, you don't have to drive hours and hours. There's lots of country settings all around Central Florida, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's definitely it's within 45-minute drive. You're out in the boonies and you have that freedom. You can see the stars. I mean, every time I come home, that's one thing I love about where I live. You see all the stars. It's all nice. I'm like, and it's like, I mean, Orlando's not New York, but there's a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if it takes you, like 30 minutes to drive 5 miles versus out here it takes you, it's like, in Spanish you say "no potre." It takes you
Mm-hmm.
really fast to get there.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I love about it.
Yeah, there's definitely something to be said for the country living. Also, in the suburbs, you get a lot of homeowners associations. Even though there's
Yeah,
some neighborhoods without homeowners associations, but in the country, you almost never are living in a homeowners association.
yeah, and it's that's the number one thing I get. I don't get me wrong. Homeowners association is good. It does has lots of pros and stuff, but most people who retire, they have their boats and they have they end up buying like four-wheelers. They buy a bunch of other stuff and they just want to park in their yard. They want the freedom and you can't really do that in a nice HOA community. You just where you could only have like one car in the driveway. You could you just it's really stressful for some folks.
Right, right. Yeah, there's that's pretty cool. Who doesn't every now and then when I visit some of my customers who are out in the country, I've got one customer who is he's got cows, he's got goats and all kinds of wild animals. So it's definitely something to be said for living in the country. Um, we lost Lewis, but hopefully he comes back. So yeah, Lewis has got an awesome new listing. It's a lakefront property. And if you're interested in living in a lakefront in the country, you can reach Lewis. Lewis is back. So is one of the bad things about living in the country the internet connection? Uh-oh, I can't hear you.
Sorry, I think that's just my laptop problem. This is definitely my office, and I've used it a little bit too much. And yeah, it
That's
just happens every once in a blue moon.
yeah, that's all good. So I was just saying with homeowners associations, like I know certain areas are zoned agricultural, but what if you're out in the country and you're not zoned in agricultural? Can you still have animals?
It depends. I know, like the state of Florida, like what kind of animals that is. The state of
Depends on the
Florida, I know
animal.
you could have like chickens and stuff like that, but I mean, I know a lot of people have done it, where they have goats and pigs and chickens and uh, ducks and stuff like that, and it's more of I have it, you know, until I'm told I can't have it. I don't recommend that, but I'm just saying a lot of people do that. But I know like if you were even if you're in city limits though, you could have chickens and stuff like that. The only thing
Yeah.
is if you're in an HOA, it's some HOAs just prevent that. Some allow it, just some just prevent that.
Right. Yes, definitely. If you're in an HOA community, the neighbors are gonna, complain if they can hear roosters or something like that, in
Yeah.
and all that. So you've got that listing, the lakefront listing. Anything else that you want to share?
Right now, I just have those properties because the other ones I have like I have 311 Avon Way is pending, is hoping to close. We're excited. I have another 2 acre, almost like shy of 2 acres in Lake Wells land lot, which is really nice. And that one we're hoping to close pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a few properties that pending, and they're looking to close probably within the next 2 weeks, which is pretty awesome.
Yep. And
And
for anyone watching our team, we have a vacant lot right now in Davenport for sale. We have a vacant residential lot in Daytona, about a mile or two from the Daytona Beach for sale. We have a bunch of land out in Ocklawaha that's for sale. So we have land all over the place. So if anyone out there is looking for land, we have you covered. Any struggles out there right now? I know a lot of people are having trouble getting buyers' offers accepted.
I think the biggest struggle is when when I have a buyer who they're wanting to purchase, but they don't have enough probably funds for perhaps closing costs, or if they have
Mm,
FHA or VA. But we found different solutions around it, and one solution that's been very beneficial is to look at homes that are 30 days, either new home constructions where they will cover the closing costs, or look at homes that are 30 days and up and
mm-hmm.
ask for closing costs. And that's actually been successful. I had a client who was FHA, couldn't afford closing costs, and we were able to get them inside of a new home construction community. They paid for the closing costs, and it worked out well for them. It was FHA.
Yeah.
Um, that's just been a struggle for a lot of folks who are, especially in this market where you put in an offer. If it's not conventional, it's like 9 times out of 10 it's not going. If it's not cash or conventional, it's not going through. But I always tell them, let's look at homes that are 30 days on the market or more, because they're desperate to get an offer in,
Yeah.
and it really works.
Yep.
We've gotten property where they, in COVID, I call this COVID real estate, where they get it, closing costs closing costs covered below asking price, even today's market, and it's available. It
Yeah.
works.
Yep. Anything else you want to share? I know you have a lot of followers in Lake Wales.
Yeah.
What's
So I
happening
have
in Lake Wales?
Lake Wells. They just got approved. I know it's like it's half the community is super pro for it, the other half are like not too happy about it. But they got approved for 10,000, about just like shy under 10,000 new homes to be built. It's going to take about 20 years, give or take, to fully finish everything. But the benefit is they just approved all of it.
Wow.
So, as Orlando is getting, filled, there's almost nothing else to build. People are looking for more places to go to. Well, new home constructions, you may live in an HOA, but the benefit of living in a new home construction is, you have community pools, you have the HOAs are, the neighborhoods are a lot, nicer. Keeps the property value up, and they have different benefits. Sometimes, like, because of where we're at, there's, the new home constructions, they allow USDA, so that's zero money down, and they'll pay for your closing costs. So I mean, there's places you could move in for like $500 to $1,000, which is pretty
Wow.
awesome.
That's pretty unheard
Um,
of right now.
yeah.
So USDA 100% financing, no money down. That's pretty exciting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I know they haven't showed which builders are going out there, but there's some neighborhoods where they just, or places that's going to be neighborhoods, they just cleared it out. They put the plumbing, now they're laying down the streets, and they haven't put in any signs to see who's actually going to build there. But I'm definitely we'll make a video on that, so, and see what benefits they have, you know, for that community.
That's
But
cool.
yeah, this is now the place where everything's moving to, the downtown area, and the connected to the actual Lake Wells area. They're remodeling everything. I mean, they got they gotten a huge award from like Miami, and like the people who are constructing everything. So it's going to be really beautiful in what they plan to do in Lake Wells. It's literally going to be the place to move to. If you're retiring, it's the spot to go to. You're an hour away from either Clearwater or Vero Beach, which are really nice beaches.
Uh-huh.
You're 45 minutes to an hour from Disney, you know, and we have a beautiful scenic view if you drive from like 27 straight down to Miami. It's a beautiful drive.
And
So
it's the actual center of the state you've shared with
it's
me.
it's they actually did a thing where it's what is the actual center of Florida, and they pointed to Lake Wells, which is pretty cool.
And you've got Bach Tower. So
Yes.
if for anyone that hasn't visited Lake Wales and you want to do their tourist attraction, it's Bach Tower, and Nicole and I did that recently, and it's a beautiful, beautiful park.
Yeah, it's a beautiful park. It's on a mountain. Now you say Florida mountains.
Florida
There's
mountain.
like 3 mountains, which is like, probably like 500 feet high or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's kind of cool. I tell people, yeah, I live on Iron Mountain in Florida,
Yeah.
and they're like, what?
The highest
But it's
peak in
cool.
Florida is around 300 feet in the entire state.
Yeah.
So there's some mounts in Claremont that are like in the 200s, and they're some of the highest peaks in Central Florida.
Yeah, and what's cool is like when you go to Bach Tower, like if you're actually where the tower is, you could see you can see pretty far out, which looks
Yeah.
really nice. It's a really cool place to take your family.
Yeah.
And we have Spook Hill, which is a cool, fun thing to do if you have your family in a car. Kind of looks like the road is like, it looks like you're driving forward when you're reversing, which is kind of cool.
Well, that's cool. Anyone that's interested in chatting with you or learning more about your listings or working with you to buy something, how can they reach you? What's the best way to call you?
That phone number is 407-790-6232.
Awesome. And what's your website?
It is luis.centralfloridapads.com.
Sweet.
And if you want to know stuff about like the Lake Wells stuff, you can check out the Lake Wells Facebook group, and it's Lake Wells news, reviews, and updates.
Awesome. Yes. Well, thank you for joining us today, and we'll talk to you next time. Keep crushing it out there.
Awesome. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.